Welcome back to another video. So today we're checking out Styx Blades of Greed running on the Xbox Ally X. This is going to be a performance review of the game and how well it runs on the handheld. Now before we get into it, I do have to mention I did receive a free review code for this game, so shout out to Nacon for that. And of course, if you want to go ahead and check out the game for yourself, I have a link in the description down below. But with that out of the way, let's get into the performance. Now normally in my videos I try to find a balance between battery life and performance to give you the best of both worlds. However, with this game I don't think that compromise is really possible. I had to run the game at a full 25 watts when unplugged and 35 watts turbo when plugged in, just to maintain a playable performance. So now I did try to lean into FSR to try to squeeze out some extra frames, but visually it just didn't look great. So I focused more on finding a middle ground between performance and image quality rather than pushing one side too far. So I can't stress this enough, but now something that's important to note is that the performance varies heavily depending on the map. Each map has its own density, lighting, foliage, and structure layout. One map might run in the low 30s, dipping into the 20s, while another map can sit near the 50 FPS, going up to 60 at times with the exact same settings. So throughout this video, I'm going to be showing you multiple maps to give you a realistic idea of how well the game performs across these different scenarios. Now I want to start with the best case scenario. This map here isn't as dense as some of the other ones. It's still a open area, free roam-ish style area where you can choose your own path, but it is less demanding overall. Here we are sitting in between the 52 to 55 FPS on average. It does run smooth and feels perfectly playable. When moving into slightly more crowded sections, it does dip into the mid 40s, but we still hold up well. You may notice that the image looks a little washed out. I did have to increase the brightness slightly because some areas felt darker than they should be on the handheld. That's just the way I have the game set. It's not actually what the game looks like. I apologize for that. Now switching over to another map with the same exact settings, you can immediately see the difference. Here we're sitting in the mid 30s, sometimes touching 40s indoors, but once you step outside it drops closer to 30 FPS. With this actually the worst performing map I've tested. The lighting here is extremely harsh with the sunlight cascading through windows and across buildings. It impacts both visuals and performance pretty heavily. I spent most of my optimization time here trying to improve performance, but this was about the best I could get for it. Now on the third map, performance lands somewhere in the middle. Indoors you'll see 40 to 50 FPS, and outdoor it fluctuates depending on the density and the lighting. This really highlights how inconsistent performance can be from one location to another, and even without changing any settings. Now of course, speaking of settings, here is what I'm using to achieve this performance. Resolution is set to 1600 by 900 in full screen mode. Graphics preset is set to medium across the board. VSync is enabled. Now FSR is set to balance and sharpness is left at default. There is frame generation available and you could go ahead and enable that if you want extra FPS, but I want to go ahead and leave that off just to show the raw performance without relying on it. Now of course I did go ahead and test low and high presets as well as going ahead and changing each and every single one of these things individually. Low gave a minor gains but hurt visuals way too much, while high dropped the frames without enough visual return. Medium ended up being the best balance and pretty much the sweet spot. If you want more FPS or plan to just push higher resolution, you could go ahead and switch FSR to performance, but everything you're seeing here is already being pushed at 35 watts, so there isn't really much more headroom beyond that for the performance and what you can push out of the handheld itself. Now another thing I do want to mention is the cutscenes within the game. Now while the FPS did range and fluctuate depending on what was going on in the cutscenes, and at most times it was a reasonable FPS, I did notice some occasional asset pop-ins. Characters or background elements would flicker or appear suddenly for a split second. I unfortunately didn't capture any footage of it. I apologize for that, but it's worth mentioning. Interesting enough, this didn't happen on my desktop playthrough, only on the handheld. Comparison, I did play about 2 hours on my desktop PC running a 3070, and performance there was completely stable without any issues. So a lot of what you're seeing here likely comes down to the engine optimization rather than just raw hardware limitations, especially considering the game is built on Unreal Engine 5, which historically hasn't been the best for handheld. As for the game itself, it's actually enjoyable. It's fun, though it's definitely challenging. I had to lower the difficulty down to easy and still found enemies density pretty high. Triggering alarms could get overwhelmingly fast, and archers especially can be brutal, sniping from a distance while you're trying to escape. They're 100% accuracy. It can feel like a bit much at times, though they can also could just be a skill issue on my end. I'm about 8 to 10 hours into this so far. There's still a lot I have left to unlock, and the game does seem a little longer than I initially expected. If you're a fan of the Styx series, this is definitely something you're going to want to go ahead and pick up. Just keep in mind the performance on the handheld. So if the Xbox Ally X or pretty much any other Ally device is the only way you're going to be able to play this game, just see what you see here and just know what to expect. Other than that, if you're going to go ahead and pick up the game on a console or on your main PC, then go ahead and do so. Like I said before, please go ahead and check out the link in the description down below if you're going to go ahead and do that. But that's pretty much it for today. This was Styx Blades of Greed running on the Xbox Ally X. If you happen to have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below. If you're new here, consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Also, share your own settings and performance results so others can try them out for themselves. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.
I have to follow it now. Fucking bird. I'm the thief here. I'm the one who steals. You're just supposed to be lunch. Damn! Damn thieving rat. Fly while you can. Can't wait to clip your wings. Now I have to go to the bridge? I didn't need the grand tour of Akonosh. This tunnel brings back memories. Mostly of me almost dying. Stupid feathered bastard. Stole my quartz? Just wait till I catch you. There. That's what you get for this place in the food chain.